This is Colorado's own Channel 2 News Daybreak.
Live look outside right now. It was rather foggy when I drove in early this morning, and it looks as if we are still seeing a good amount of fog and moisture in the air. It is 6 o'clock on Daybreak. Glad to have you along with us this morning. I'm Natalie Tysdal.
And I'm Ken Clark. Ernie is off today, but yeah, it was another dreary start. It's kind of a ho-hum way to end the summer. You know, these kids, some of them are going back here 24 to 48 hours, and Chris Tomer, they need to get outside. They've got very little time before.
Ho-hum.
It's a ho-hum.
This is bloody blah.
You know, we hope they got their pool time in, because this week, not a really good one.
Yeah, yesterday was a soaker.
Yeah.
I mean, up and down the front range, like an average of an inch. I mean, there was a lot of rain yesterday. Now, all that rain has moved away, but you guys are right, Natalie and Ken. The fog is here. You know, all that moisture evaporates into the air, and we see a lot of these foggy mornings across the front range, and we've got one here across the city of Denver. I'm not expecting any new rain here in Denver until we see a round of thunderstorms this afternoon. There's the view. All that heavy rain we had yesterday is moving across the eastern plains and out of here. And so we'll start off with pretty quiet conditions except for the fog. 58 degrees right now in town. It's 59 in Fort Collins. Boulder at 55. Look at the mountains. 30s and 40s up there. We had a light dusting of snow, as you might have heard, on Pikes and Longs and a number of other higher peaks from this event. So here's how to plan out the day. Fog and sun turning partly cloudy at lunch, followed by a 40% chance of storms this afternoon, and the high today at 74. Let's check out those roads this morning. The morning rush. Hank, how we doing?
Yeah, yesterday they were wet this morning, maybe a little damp as they continue to dry off from the overnight rains, but we're starting off the Tuesday morning drive in pretty good shape. Let's take you outside to our live camera at I-25 and 20th north and southbound. Doing really well so far. Plenty of real estate, but those roads are filling in. That'll change pretty soon. But boy, right here we're doing great. Just a little bit of slowing there, starting to build on I-270 as you make your way across Commerce City, traditionally one of the early spots that fill in the morning drive. And heading over to the high country, I-70 westbound shut down at the Avon exit. It's been this way for the last 45 minutes to an hour because of a pretty serious crash. We will let our high country viewers know when that opens as soon as we get word. Guys?
All right, Hank, thank you very much. Happening today, a hearing is set for protesters accused of trespassing in Senator Cory Gardner's office.
Gardner requesting the charge to be dropped, and he has been subpoenaed to show up at the trial. Jim Hooley is live at the downtown Denver courthouse with more on the senator's request and the protesters. Jim?
Natalie, good morning. Yeah, these are trespassing charges against the 5 defendants that are going to be here today. And the senator has said that he wants to drop all the charges against them. But so far, the Denver District Attorney's Office has not acted on that. So they will go ahead with the hearing today. It starts in just a couple of hours down here at the downtown Denver Justice Center. Here's what's going to be happening when all this gets underway coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. All of this stems from the occupation of Gardner's office for 2 days back in June. The protesters said that they wouldn't leave at that time until they got to talk to Gardner. They were demanding that Gardner vote against the Republican plan to ditch Obamacare. The protesters are part of a group called ADAPT. That's a group that works nationally to protect disability rights. The protesters claim that Republicans want to cut many of those rights, and they never got to talk with Gardner directly, and they were finally arrested by Denver police. Again, there's 5 defendants altogether. The charges are trespassing, and they're going to get a lot of support here today. There's a rally in their support that's planned right in front of the Justice Center. That's set to begin at 7:30 this morning. The hearing itself is set to begin at 8 o'clock, and there's no word from the senator's office as, in fact, whether Gardner will show up here or not. Live in downtown Denver this morning at the Justice Center, Jim Hooley, Channel 2 News.
All right, Jim, thank you. Well, right now, Denver police are searching for a peeping Tom who was at the Denver Pavilions.
Now, the man is wanted for invasion of privacy after police say that he was taking photos of victims in dressing rooms. We're told this incident happened on July 29th at the Pavilions. Police don't have his name, just a picture of him. We did speak to a worker at Rosie's Boutique, though the incident didn't happen at that store. But she said it's a good reminder of why they're always watchful.
Can you imagine having your privacy invaded like that? We are extra careful. We're always on the lookout. We really are. I mean, we pay close attention.
So take a look at this picture. Stores in the area say that their first move in an incident like this is to notify mall security. Anyone with information that leads to an arrest could get a $2,000 reward from Crime Stoppers.
Jury selection continues this morning in the Taylor Swift groping trial. The music superstar here in town right now expected to testify against the former KYGO DJ David Mueller. He's accused of groping Swift during a meet and greet back in 2013 before her concert. Mueller was fired 2 days after Swift's manager complained to station management. So Mueller filed a lawsuit saying that Swift cost him his job and he wants compensation. Swift, however, is refusing to settle the case and countersued for assault. She's asking for $1. Yesterday, 13 potential jurors out of a pool of 60 were sent home.
Well, 6 months have passed since Donald Trump became the 45th president, and according to a new CNN poll, many Americans don't have much faith in him. The new poll shows that Trump's approval ratings sit at 38%. President Trump is on a working vacation in New Jersey and will hold a news conference on the opioid crisis later this afternoon.
From high winds to heavy rain, severe weather swept across parts of the United States yesterday. Fast flooding trapped people in San Antonio. One man forced on top of a car, look at this video, and had to wait for rescuers. Meteorologists say this part of Texas typically sees about 2 inches of rain in the entire month of August, but early Monday, 3 to 5 inches of rain fell there. In Maryland, strong winds flipped cars and prompted people to seek shelter. And people in Tulsa cleaning up after an EF2 tornado hit on Sunday.
6:06 on this Tuesday morning, and the family of a teen killed after a ride malfunctioned at the Ohio State Fair is filing a wrongful death lawsuit. The attorney for Tyler Gerald's family says that his mother is shocked and outraged and says the teen didn't die in a so-called freak accident. The company says that fireball ride failed due to excessive corrosion. Columbus attorney Mark Kittredge says he intends to name Amusements of America in a wrongful death lawsuit.
To the manufacturer saying no one could have looked at this ride and known anything was wrong.
Well, I just don't think that's true. Think about rust. It's dirty, it's brown, it's yellow, water that comes out of it, it's going to be rusty. You can't just have that happen in one day.
Now, the attorney says Jarrell's family now plans to push for Tyler's law to create a universal ride inspection set of standards.
Disney has installed a statue to honor that toddler killed by an alligator attack last year. A lighthouse statue has been installed at the Grand Floridian in Orlando. That's the Disney resort where the 2-year-old named Lane Thomas Graves was playing near the water when an alligator grabbed him and dragged him in. The lighthouse is the symbol of the Lane Thomas Foundation. His family established that foundation after Lane's death to support organ donations for children.
It's a beautiful statue. New video from American Airlines flight shows moments after a flight was hit by severe turbulence over the weekend. The pilot apologized for what happened, calling the turbulence totally unexpected. That flight was en route from Athens, Greece to Philadelphia when the turbulence happened. In a statement, American says that 3 passengers, 7 crew members were taken to the hospital for evaluations. All that stuff on the floor. 6:08 now, there's lots to come here on Daybreak. How to know you're getting the real deal when it comes to solar eclipse glasses. Very important to keep you and your family safe.
To a plane being flown without a pilot. We'll tell you why some airline experts think it might be a good idea.
And so how much rain did we actually get up and down the Front Range? I mapped it out, labeled some spots, and so we'll take a look at the map here in just a few minutes.
Got the labeler out. Let's get you where you need to go this morning. I-25 here at 84th, traffic filling in. And that's the mode we're in right now. We're just seeing some of the usual spots start to slow down. We are accident free, but trouble in the high country. We'll take a look at that coming up in a few minutes.
Stressed out. We're stressed out.
6:12 on your Tuesday morning. Take a look at that. This is a beautiful picture coming in west of town with a live look at Vail. You can see the chairlift kind of off in the distance. The moon starting to set. We'll bring you the very latest weather here coming up with Chris Tomer here in the next few minutes. To business news now as the Dow hits yet again another record high, 9th in a row. Jane King is live at the NASDAQ market site in New York. Good morning, Jane. You guys are running out of bubbly up there, celebrating all these big days.
I know. This is a heck of a run we've been on, Ken. Hard to tell if it's going to continue today. We're looking flat and kind of quiet here, but the Dow is on one of the longest winning streaks in history, 9 record highs in a row. The S&P 500 also closed at a record high yesterday. Now, the Dow did have 10 positive days in a row back in February. It has closed at 35 record highs so far this year, so it's been quite a year. Well, U.S. households now collectively have more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. That's according to a report released by the Federal Reserve. It's the highest in history. An analyst at creditcards.com says this milestone should be a wake-up call to Americans to start paying down that debt. And would you fly in a pilotless plane? UBS estimates that pilots cost $31 billion per year for the airlines, and there's another $3 billion in training. Autonomous planes would also be more efficient, bringing another $1 billion in fuel savings. And what sounds crazy, but there is a well-publicized shortage of pilots that's predicted to be happening in the coming years. Live from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square, I'm Jane King. Back to you. One word, Sully. You know, you need a Sully
exactly.
there.
Good point.
Yeah, that's right.
Without a Sullenberger in the seat, you just got that spinning wheel and the Control-Alt-Delete reboot. It's terrifying.
No, well, I think we need someone who can react.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Jane, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, more moisture today.
Yeah, that's scary to think because you've seen the movie where they're like, they ran him through the simulator.
Oh, yeah.
And
Like,
he was the only one that could
No,
do it.
thank you.
Yeah, they couldn't foul him up. I mean,
I just don't think, I don't trust, I mean, maybe with cars, when cars are more apt, but to be that high with no backup,
I don't know. The cars and the
that
plane.
feel that he had for it after flying for so many years, that experience, you know.
Although, to be honest, I mean, how often do you actually even see the pilots when you're on the planes because those doors are closed?
Yeah.
So
That's right.
there might not be anybody in
So
there.
you don't go in the cockpit at all?
No. I stay far, far away. My seat's
They
in the
make
back.
him sit all the way in the back.
I hand out towels near the restroom. You know, that's where I sit.
Flying by some instruments this morning with the fog that we've got up and down the front range. Pretty thick in spots. Now, how much rain do we actually get? Well, the official number out at the airport is about 0.9. A lot of places had about an inch of rain. I labeled a few of them, like up around Fort Collins. There was a little bit more, a couple of pockets out here in Weld County of over 2 inches, up I-76, over 1.5 inches. About an inch out there at I-70 and E-470, just on the east side of I-25 out around, Lakewood. About an inch, even a little bit more around C-470. And then down south, boy, there was a heavy pocket over Castle Rock and the Palmer Divide of over 2 inches of rain down there. And the pattern really supported this thing. We're really in the crosshairs. We've got moisture coming in on the southern jet and the northern jet, bringing in cold fronts, so the two of them mesh. Looking down the road, though, that dip in the jet looks to come in next week, and the timing may impact the eclipse as we hit that following weekend. So here's our pinpoint futurecast. As the day goes on, all the moisture we had yesterday continues to move away. Here comes the next batch in the form of afternoon storms. Mountains first, and then they'll roll across the I-25 corridor on the front range. Thunderstorms, maybe another round here, 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. And then we're done with that. But some fog again returns for tomorrow morning. High temperatures are up today into the middle 70s. Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, 60s, 70s for highs of the mountain towns. Over the next 7 days, so we stay in the 70s most of the time here. The only day we touch 80 is there on Saturday, and every single afternoon, Hank, a chance of thunderstorm.
Rain, rain, and more rain. Let's get you outside in time saver traffic, where the road conditions are much better this morning than they were this time yesterday. A live shot here across Commerce City, and generally dry road conditions. You may see some spots this morning where they're damp, but they're quickly drying out. Some heavy congestion starting to fill in here at York, and it will continue to start reaching down towards Vasquez. A look in that area, and that's, as before mentioned, I-76 filling in as well, and some portions of I-25 southbound coming out of Thornton also starting to bog down around 84th. Up in the high country, we've got a problem. I-70 westbound shut down at the Avon exit. Pretty big crash up there. No ETA, guys, on when they are going to get that reopened. Natalie?
All right, Hank, thank you. 6:17 now. We have a story about graffiti on stop signs could trick driverless cars into driving dangerously. Researchers showed how driverless cars could ignore road signs since they can be confused by simple vandalism. The researchers said they hope that the research could help build better defense systems into autonomous vehicles.
Look at your health this morning. If you have celiac disease or another serious gluten intolerance, you'll want to avoid eating Papa John's gluten-free pizza. The pizza chain announced yesterday it is rolling out their new crust made with grains like quinoa, but they say they are not keeping the crust totally away from all gluten. Very difficult to do that, so there could be cross-contamination.
Also trending this morning, doctors in Australia had to surgically remove dental wire from a woman's small intestine 10 years after she swallowed it. Doctors say that the 30-year-old lady went into the emergency room complaining of extreme pain. Well, they did a CT scan. You can see it right there in the middle of your picture. They discovered that piece of wire had punctured several places in the woman's small intestine, and it came from her braces.
That's crazy.
It's scary. It's been in there for so long.
Wow.
Well, we're now less than 2 weeks away from the solar eclipse that will cross the United States for the first time in 99 years.
Yep, that's August 21st. It's going to cross the country from Oregon to South Carolina. Parts of Wyoming and Nebraska will get complete darkness. Here in the Denver area, it's going to be about 90%. If you're planning on taking a good look right at it, like many people will be, experts warn sunglasses are not enough, and you have to be careful because some of those paper-like glasses that are being sold on the internet might not be protective enough.
Take a really bright flashlight inside and shine it through the lenses and look at them. And if you can see any points of light coming through, you know that damaging light from the sun could come through.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the next total eclipse, by the way, that will pass over the U.S., including Denver, will be in 28 years. So prepare for it on the 21st.
Well, now you know what to look for if your kids are interested in taking a look at it, and I know a lot of them are.
Yeah.
I haven't met one kid who doesn't want to take a look at it,
Of course,
actually.
but make sure you have the right glasses.
Sure.
Coming up next on Daybreak, sometimes it can be hard to say no to a snack. We're going to tell you which foods will help keep your appetite in check and your stomach feeling full.
Give me 2 donuts.
No.
Track interactive radar. Get an hour-by-hour forecast and see a 10-day outlook anytime, anywhere. Download the Pinpoint Weather app today. It's free for iPhone and Android. Just search KWGN in the App Store or Google Play.
It is Take the Stairs Tuesday. Every Tuesday, we encourage you to take the stairs as a way to make a healthy change in your life. Did you know that 2 minutes of climbing stairs a day can keep off those pesky 2 pounds that most adults gain in a year? So just take the stairs. More health news for you this morning. It is 6:23. There's no magic pill for weight loss, but there are foods that can give you an edge in controlling your hunger. Sometimes losing weight isn't a matter of following a strict diet, but rather eating foods that work for you instead of against you. So here are some of those foods that offer a satisfying sense of fullness. Greek yogurt, thicker, creamier, has more protein than its regular yogurt counterparts and often less sugar. Avocados, packed with healthy fats and oleic acid, that's an omega-9 fatty acid, both of which can be helpful for controlling hunger. Barley, a natural appetite suppressant. The grain contains a unique combination of dietary fibers that make it extra filling. And finally, flaxseed, rich in 2 natural appetite suppressants, omega-3 fats and fiber. Hope that helps get your day started. Grab some of those foods. A new study suggests your heart health may determine your risk of developing dementia in old age. Researchers say middle-aged people who smoke or have diabetes or high blood pressure are more likely to have dementia as they grow older. This from a 25-year study from Johns Hopkins University. Well, the new school year is just days away for some kids, and you may be one of the many parents struggling to figure out how your kids are being taught math and why they aren't learning to add and multiply the way you did. Kim Posey shows us these new techniques and the advice for parents this morning as Daybreak goes back to school.
Parents will tell you elementary school math looks pretty different than it used to.
I'm having a hard time explaining it to my daughter because how I was taught is not how she is being taught.
Looking for help, some families come here to the Sylvan Learning Center in Highlands Ranch.
It's so funny when a parent says, I can't do second grade math.
Years ago, we memorized and were taught procedures, and experts believe we may not have understood the real relationship of the numbers or their place value, and that is a goal today. So young kids may initially learn to add by using something called a 10 frame. They learn to see numbers on a scale of 10. For example, 8 plus 6. Well, 8 plus 2 equals 10. Add the remaining 4, and that's 14. And what about multiplication? Well, your kids may learn lattice multiplication as an option, using a grid like this to work out problems like 24 times 39. So 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. You multiply, then add up the lattices row by row by row, and the answer is 936. Now, just looking at this is enough to put some parents over the edge. But Ann says, remember, different schools use different teaching methods. And her bottom line is, like those methods or not, parents should embrace the new ways.
So familiarize yourself with the terminology and the vocabulary, and resist the urge to go back and say, let me just show you how I learned it. It's so much easier, because that's just going to confuse your child.
Kim Posey, Channel 2 News.
Oh boy.
I am so scared to help my kids with homework anymore.
We did go and take one of those parent-offered classes. It was my wife's idea. I'm like, I don't need to go to learn to do, and I did.
You could teach an old dog new tricks to an old dog?
They were like, they don't carry the one. I'm like, well, where do you put it? And we don't do that, Dad. And so it is confusing.
Well, hopefully they're making it a little bit easier for the kids.
It just hit me that summer's over Thursday, and I'm going to have to try and muddle my way through math again.
I know. All of us just wait till they get to high school.
No. No.
Much more to come in the next half hour of Daybreak this morning.
Including how RTD construction could put a century-old cemetery in jeopardy.
This is Colorado's own Channel 2 News Daybreak.
6:30, a live look outside right now. Look at all that low-hanging cloud coverage this morning, fog, and a cool start to your Tuesday morning. Glad to have you with us. I'm Natalie Tysdal.
Yeah, thanks for joining us here on Daybreak. I'm Ken Clark. Ernie will be back tomorrow, probably with a big bucket of sunshine, as the last couple of days have not felt like the end of summer, Chris, but if the kids needed any motivation to go outside, the weather is not offering it at all.
Whew, got the fog, don't we?
Yeah.
Fog, it was like an all-day soaker yesterday. Well, that has moved away. I think after the fog, though, we'll have some sun, believe it or not, that'll come out today. Natalie and Ken, and that'll be something. But another round of thunderstorms, I think, will move in this afternoon. There's your view of Denver, and clearly a low ceiling there. Here's the fog map. So some pretty low visibilities over on Aurora, Centennial, Parker, look at that. Very low down in the Castle Pines area as well. Riding down I-25, look at Monument, very low visibilities, and even in northern Colorado, reduced visibilities with the fog bank up there. So the rain we had yesterday moving away, moving east, but that doesn't mean there's more moisture. There isn't more moisture. There is, and that will fuel thunderstorms around here this afternoon. And we're at 55 degrees right now in Denver. We're in the 50s in Arvada, Wheat Ridge, low 50s Lakewood, looking at 40s right now up in the foothills. So here's my forecast, 74 today, my high, fog, then sun, then partly cloudy, followed by a pretty decent chance of thunderstorms around the area this afternoon. Let's check out the morning drive. Hey, Hank.
Yeah, hey, good morning, Chris. Well, 6:32, we're off to a pretty good start. Yesterday's morning drive was slow to develop. Of course, then we had rain yesterday. Today we've got drying out roads and also slow to develop. So we'll see how that works out. Live shot here through downtown southbound. Off and on slowing as you make your way from I-70 down through Spear. Looking at the map, you can see that really we're only the bulk of the delays are just off and on I-70 and north of, though we've got that slowdown across the Cherry Creek Reservoir. And we'll wrap up in Douglas County, Castle Rock. You drive on I-25 and US 85, both looking good as you're heading northbound. Guys?
Well, this morning, jury selection will continue in the Taylor Swift trial. The music superstar accusing a former Denver radio DJ of groping her at a meet and greet before a Pepsi Center concert back in 2013.
That DJ then sued Swift, denying the allegation and saying that it cost him his job. Amanda Zitzman is live outside the federal courthouse with what is expected today. Amanda.
Well, guys, we actually do have folks lining up right now, hoping to get inside the courtroom. Some fans of Taylor Swift showing up here to show their support for the pop star. They're hoping to get inside. They should give out passes in about 30 minutes or so. Less than a dozen people here right now. They should be able to get in. They've got 35 courtroom seats and 75 overflow seats available. Swift was in court yesterday. She will likely be here again today. Jury selection continues 8:45 this morning. So far, 13 of 60 potential jurors were let go. They were asked if they were Swift fans, if they've seen that now infamous photo of Swift and Mueller from that day. They do need to narrow it down to 8 jurors, then the civil trial will begin, and the jury will decide who they believe here. David Mueller, the DJ suing for $3 million, saying the groping allegation is false, or Swift, who countersued for $1, which fans say was a symbolic move.
Important that Taylor Swift is being so public about this trial and being so open about how this is not okay, any form of sexual assault isn't okay, and it's important for her fans to see this and to stand up if something like this happens to them, which I'm sure most people have had it happen to them. I know we have all had it happen to us. It's just important to stand up to that.
Yeah, Lucy, they're one of the first to arrive early this morning before 6 a.m. Opening statements expected to start later today in this case once jury selection wraps up, possibly around noon. If you are planning to come here today hoping to get inside, they do have some rules you have to follow trying to get into the courtroom. No Taylor Swift gear will be allowed, no cell phones, no cameras. We have the full detailed list of what you can and cannot bring on our website, KWGN.com. For now, live outside the federal courthouse, Amanda Zitzman, Channel 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you.
It's now 6:35 and new this half hour. There was a small fire at the gas station at the corner of Colorado and Evans. Someone backed into one of those gas pumps out there, sparking that fire. Well, it was quickly put out. There was no damage, and thankfully nobody was hurt.
The Colorado State Patrol is investigating a deadly crash at Lookout Mountain. This is a look at the scene from last night where you can see a broken guardrail. Officers say a truck crashed into that guardrail and then rolled down the embankment. The only person inside died in the crash. Investigators are still trying to determine what led up to the accident.
John Bolin, son of Broncos owner Pat Bolin, has turned himself into police as a warrant was issued for his arrest from Arapahoe County. Well, we now know that Bolin turned himself in on Saturday to Glendale police. He was arrested for DUI in California. The Colorado judge issued the warrant saying that he violated his probation stemming from a domestic violence case. Bolin's attorney appealed, but the motion was denied, and now he is out on bond.
A Greeley car dealer already accused of being involved in an alleged sex slave network is now facing new charges. 45-year-old Norman Burmagad, the owner of the First Choice Motors in Greeley, is now charged with organized crime and illegal business practices. And according to an affidavit, he's accused of several scams between January of 13 and when the state closed the dealership in May. He was charged several months ago in connection with a sex slave network, which allegedly involved several women.
6:36 now. There's a Denver cemetery older than the state of Colorado, and it may be disrupted by a new RTD light rail line. The cemetery off Brighton Boulevard has been in operation since 1876, but now RTD wants to close off the entrance due to safety issues because of activity from the upcoming North Metro rail line. Now, the cemetery says that the new proposed entrance down a side street with multiple turns does present a safety issue of its own.
We don't want people to lose interest in Riverside Cemetery just because the difficult nature of finding Riverside with the new access.
Well, the cemetery is also concerned about who will maintain the new service road built to access the property, as neither side wants to do it.
2 men are in the hospital after a wall collapsed on them while they were doing work on a home in Denver. This happened shortly before noon on West Denver Place, that's near Federal and 38th. Rescuers had to dig the 2 men out of the debris. A third person who was also involved was evaluated at the scene. Denver fire officials say the men were working next to the house when the wall came crashing down.
Well, today, firefighters, including a team from the ATF, will return to the scene of a fire that destroyed the historic mill in Windsor. They're trying to figure out what sparked the fire that broke out on Sunday morning. Firefighters say that mill quickly went up in flames, giving them no chance to contain the fire. We're also seeing new photos of the damage, and firefighters say the fire has also affected neighboring businesses. One restaurant remained closed because of the smoke that's affecting their air quality, and an auto shop has limited access now. That mill was damaged back in 2008 by a tornado and then sat empty for years until developers decided to turn it into a restaurant and a brewery.
DIA continues its upward trend for the first 6 months of the year. More than 29 million passengers came through DIA, an increase of 7.4% compared to the first half of last year. It's also the most passengers by mid-year in DIA's history. June also marked 22 months of consecutive monthly increases at the airport. Well, some good news to tell you about this morning. Nearly 4,000 students in Denver will head back to class at the end of the month with a little bit lighter load. They won't be carrying school lunch debts.
Fantastic. Channel 2 set out to erase the school lunch debt in Denver 2 months ago. We contacted the Kids Giving 365 organization and asked if they could help. Well, our partnership quickly raised nearly $14,000, almost enough to pay off the debt. Denver Public Schools Superintendent tells us the district will now provide a hot lunch for every child.
We're committed that at the end of the day, we're going to feed every kid every day, that every kid who wants lunch will get a full hot lunch, and we will find a way to do it.
That happen, every child who qualifies must first sign up for federal assistance. Tonight, Catavilla wood-fired Italian restaurant will donate 10% of all sales towards the final cost of paying off that debt. If you'd like to help, visit our website at KWGN.com.
Well, coming up the weekend of September 4th, you can be a part of history by taking part in the inaugural Fortitude 10K on Labor Day. The 6.2-mile run will go through Fort Collins neighborhoods and end at CSU Stadium. Channel 2 proud to be one of the sponsors of the event, coordinated by the organizers of the Boulder. Lots to come still on Daybreak this morning. CU Boulder getting ready to send another instrument into space. We're going to tell you what's so cool about the pieces that's unique to Colorado.
And a crazy crash caught on camera in China. We'll show you exactly what happened when that fiery ball was caught on camera.
Plus, I love Lucy and no one cares. Not the right line, but they're going to make a new I Love Lucy movie. We now know who's playing Lucy and who will play Fred Mertz. Stick around.
And some sun. Look at this up in the mountains. A nice view across the ridge lines from A Basin. This afternoon, we'll start to see thunderstorms emerge again and then head towards Denver and the Front Range. More on that forecast coming in.
And so far, so good. The usual suspects just now filling in. And good news in the high country where I-70 westbound's reopened just past Vail from an earlier crash.
.644 on your Tuesday morning, taking a live look from our camera over there at Mile High Stadium, facing to the east. Heavy cloud cover, my friend Chris.
Or fog.
Or both.
Yeah.
Is it both? I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But again, we're waking up to a lot of moisture in the air, moisture that we need, but now we're kind of wondering when this is going to move out.
Right, so we'll go from fog to sun and then thunderstorms this afternoon.
Kind of the same pattern.
It's different, yes. We weren't going to see the all-day rain like we had yesterday. That was pretty incredible with temps in the 60s. And some of that fell as light snow up on the higher peaks, Ken. Look at Long's Peak this morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about a lot of snow, but you can see the north face there covered in some of that white up there. It was a similar scene on Pikes and some other peaks as well. But, you know, it can snow any month of the year in the mountains of Colorado, and this was a great example of that. And a little bit of snow all the way across the Longs this morning. So here's why all this happened. We actually are in the crosshairs here. On the eastern half of Colorado, we had the main branch of the jet dip down and buckle over us, and then a little bit of moisture on the southern decided to come in as well, so that focused it right here. Now next week, that storm and that dip in the jet will move in. The timing of it is a little concerning. If it sticks around, it will impact the eclipse across the west. Here's our pinpoint futurecast. All the moisture we had yesterday is moving away. And then as we hit noon into the afternoon, here come the thunderstorms building over the mountains, and then they'll come across the Front Range, I-25. There may be a second round, 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight of thunderstorms. And then all of that would tend to settle down by tomorrow morning with some fog again re-emerging. Highs today in the middle 70s up and down I-25, Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, 60s and 70s for highs in the mountain towns. Over the next 7 days, every afternoon features a chance of thunderstorms. And highs are largely in the 70s, with one day on Saturday touching 80. Hank, how are we looking on the roads? Come on.
Shape right now, Chris, we're just getting word that the visibility could become an issue this morning out at DIA. We'll get to that in a moment, but first a live shot here. That curve of I-25 southbound through the University curve starting to slow down in that area, and it will only get worse from here as the morning rolls on. So as you look at the map, not too bad for a Tuesday morning. Seeing this little bit of a slowdown here on I-70 westbound approaching 225 could be normal, but could be a problem. There was an accident reported in this area, which I think is why it's possibly a little heavier than normal. If you're going to be traveling in that route, heads up, allow a couple extra minutes, and mention DIA. So right now, pretty typical situation out there right now. Security wait line, no cancellations, A-line's on schedule, but visibility is down to about a half mile, and because of that, they might be doing a ground stop a little later on this morning. If it gets any worse, we'll continue to monitor that for you and keep you ahead of those backups, guys.
All right, thank you. We'll see you, Boulder, getting ready to send another instrument into space. This piece of technology will measure the sun's energy, allowing us to monitor the climate here on Earth better.
And our own Kevin Torres is in Boulder County and tells us what else makes this piece of technology unique to Colorado.
Good morning, Daybreak friends. You know, this piece of technology is really small, but it is expected to make a huge impact.
It's another very exciting adventure.
Here on Earth, most of our energy comes from the sun, which is about 93 million miles away.
These instruments measure the light from the sun at accuracies that are unprecedented.
We've had technology similar to this up in space before, but it's never been as accurate and high-tech as it is right now. It will allow us to monitor activity on the sun in ways we've only dreamed of.
Well, what this means is that we can now monitor smaller and smaller changes in this incoming energy that the Earth receives.
Scientists and engineers have been working on this updated model for a decade. It arrived at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida last week, and once it's up in space, it will loop around our planet 15 times a day. In November, a SpaceX spaceship will take it up to space to the International Space Station, where it will live for the next 5 years. I'm Kevin Torres with your Daybreak edition of Unique to Colorado. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, if you think your tweets are out of this world, here's your chance to put your money where your mouth is. Next month, NASA is transmitting a message to celebrate the Voyager spacecraft's 40th anniversary. The public will get to vote on the space agency's finalists. The message will beam into space on September 5th, arriving the next day. So you have until August 15th to send a short message and photo to NASA through social media with the hashtag #MessageToVoyager.
I wouldn't even know what to send. I think I would just say, hi.
How's it going?
Thanks for all the great photos. Speaking of photos, take a look at this, a dramatic dog rescue. A dog found dangling off a balcony in downtown Tampa, all caught on camera. It was a long way down from the second floor, and a crowd gathered to try and help. Aww. One neighbor threw a bed sheet down, hoping that it would brace the fall.
If it's what was holding him up there, and and he was bracing with his front paws, and he was dangling there so long, and every time he would move, everybody was gasping.
Well, you know what, that little guy's hanging on. It was a long 40 minutes until the dog finally fell to safety. No one could find the dog's owner, so a neighbor took it into an animal clinic to be checked out. Little guy expected to be okay. He definitely has a lot of fans, but scary moment.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of makes you wonder what happened for the dog to go through there, if he was chasing a ball or a bug or a squirrel.
Just didn't know. Well, an intense crash caught on surveillance camera in China. Several people lucky to be alive after they crashed into the side of a car. Take a look at this. The vehicles burst into flames right on impact, sending people scrambling to put out the blaze. One man ran up with a fire extinguisher and started spraying all over the car. Although the victims were thrown from the motorcycle and received injuries, miraculously, no one is reported killed in that accident.
Oof. Well, there's a team of German domino experts. They just broke the Guinness Book of World Records for the most dominoes toppled underwater.
What?
Underwater? Sinners Domino Entertainment arranged 11,466 dominoes in the underwater tank. The entire setup took 2 weeks, though we have video, it took just 10 seconds. While the toppling took a mere minutes, but it was well worth the watch. Guinness confirmed the team achieved the new world record. There you have it, big smiley face.
I didn't know dominoes would stay at the bottom of the water. I thought they would float. So I was very curious to see this. Not sure how that worked.
Lead dominoes.
Looks pretty cool, though. All right, how about a goat deciding to jump onto the hood of a police cruiser? Check out the body camera footage. The officer actually out looking for the owner of a lost pony. When the goat climbed onto the squad car, the officer said, "That's my hood, dude." A neighbor came out and helped get the goat down, but the feisty guy jumped right back up. He liked the hood of that cruiser.
Oh, scratching it up, I bet. Well, it's birthday time on this Tuesday morning at 6:51 now. Let's say happy birthday to Shawn Mendes.
Ah, do we have some music?
We do.
Good stitches there. Roger
He's only
Federer.
19.
He's only 19, and what a performance he can put on. Roger Federer, 36 today, of course, famous tennis player.
Larry Wilcox, yes. Larry's only 70 years old. He looked good as a police officer. Remember Chips?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. That's the guy from Chips?
Yep.
Yeah. How about Dustin Hoffman, 80
Oh.
years old today?
You know,
Happy
I
birthday.
loved him. And remember the time we did interview him and I admitted to him my first crush was Tootsie. And he did not judge me. He said, that's fine if you fell in love with Tootsie.
Gotta love Tootsie, all of us. Such a good movie. All right, entertainment news.
It's been called the best music video ever. It's about to get even more epic. The guy who directed the original Thriller music video is going to do it in 3D. He's going to unveil the 3D version at the Venice Film Festival. We've been trying to get our company to send me to Venice to cover this story.
How's that going?
I've still heard nothing.
You started a GoFundMe?
I've started a GoFundMe. That's my best bet, isn't
I
it?
think that might be your only option.
All right. We could just recreate it. Come on, you guys.
I think your zombie needs to stretch first. You're not really.
Muriel, my floor director, was joining in. You got the spirit. Bum, 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 bum. By the way, speaking of spirit, I want to thank our producer, Savannah, who just posted on Snapchat that she is serving sparkly realness this morning. If you're hungry for some sparkly realness, our producer, Savannah, is serving it. How about Jimmy Kimmel? He's serving up some late night laughs with a baby version of The Bachelor.
Hi, my name is Cosette. I always fall for bad boys. I was the bad boy. But I'm here to be a good boy. Alex is so cute. I make bad decisions.
New arrival Maisie promises to bring the drama.
I'm Maisie and I'm crazy.
Yep, I know Maisie.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. I actually called my sister last night to catch up, and she was, nope, can't talk, watching The Bachelor finale. I got dissed for The Bachelor finale. Story of my life. How about Amy Schumer? She'd never ditch me, and now she's actually making her Broadway debut this fall. Amy teaming up with Steve Martin in his new play, Meteor Shower, all about a California couple, seemingly casual dinner party, and then they find themselves in a marital fiasco. Sound familiar, Ken? It should. It's your life.
No.
Marital fiasco.
There's
hey,
one.
I love Amy Schumer. When she came to Denver, she and I bonded very much so. You can tell. I think you can feel the warmth between us. I think it's
Not
pretty
what the court
obvious.
papers said.
Well, what's a little restraining order between friends? I wish you could see our producer because she is serving sparkly realness this morning.
You said that.
Maybe where is Savannah? Come out here so you can show our viewers
Get some
very
in here.
your
sparkly.
sparkly realness.
Did you see your sweater?
Let's move on to I Love Lucy. Yeah!
What was that?
That was my Lucy impression.
You need to work on that.
Yeah, Ricky. That's pretty good. Fine. Well, it's a good thing I wasn't cast as Lucy in her new life story. It's a good thing they cast Cate Blanchett as I Love Lucy. It's going to be called Lucy and Desi. It'll air on Amazon, and Aaron Sorkin is going to, well, he wrote the whole script. He's an epic writer. So, again, Cate Blanchett will be playing Lucille Ball. I think, first of all, Cate Blanchett's an excellent actress, but I also see some physical similarities.
Yeah.
But you don't think of a funny lady when you think of Cate Blanchett.
Oh, so that'll be interesting because timing is everything.
They have yet to cast Desi Arnaz or, of course, Ethel. But this morning, I just got word they have cast Fred. Fred Mertz will be played by Ken Clark.
There he
How come I'm not in black and white?
There he is.
Wait, our
That
boss
would do
spent
it.
45 minutes doing this graphic, and he didn't bother to put it in black and white.
Yeah.
Hashtag Photoshop fail. All right, our sparkly producer, Savannah, says to wrap it up, in the next hour, I got the Colorado exclusive with the cast of Annabelle Creation, the new terrifying film in theaters this Friday.
Wow.
Also coming up in the next hour, Taylor Swift trial getting underway here in the Mile High City. But what exactly can be categorized as sexual assault? We have an expert in to answer that. Questions coming up.